Welcome back, my friends, to the D-Rate the Hate podcast. I am Wilk from wilksworld.com, and tonight's episode, we're actually going to piggyback a little bit off of last week's episode. Now, if you didn't get a chance to listen to last week's episode, I talked about the 10 lessons that I will pass on to my children. Now, one of them lessons, number 10, is take a stand. When you believe in something, when you truly believe in a certain set of values, I believe it's very, very important that you learn to take a stand when you see something wrong, right? Episode 43 tonight is going to be about taking a stand, standing up for the values that you believe in. What have you done today to make your life a better life? What have you done today to make the world a better place? D-Rate the Hate podcast is all about bettering the world one attitude at a time, and that's just what we try to do each week. Hopefully I come up with some lesson. Hopefully I spread a little bit of wisdom, something out there that maybe shed some light on something that's going on in your life, something that maybe can help you get through something that's been bothering you, or somehow, some way, turn your attitude around, and in turn make your life a better life, make the world a better place, right? That's what we're about doing. So again, piggybacking off last week, lesson number 10 that I will pass on to my children is take a stand. If you see something wrong, we should not be afraid to stand up or stick up for the values for which we believe. And we live in some very interesting times. We live in some very interesting times because, as we've talked about before on this podcast, there's a serious movement afoot with the cancel culture and the social justice warriors that are out there, and those that are constantly virtue signaling and really trying to destroy those people who have attitude, or not necessarily attitudes, sometimes attitudes, but opinions and thoughts and values with which they disagree, and it's all about destroying those people who people do not agree with, and we have to. Those of us who have a strong set of values, whether it be the Judeo-Christian value system or just the American patriot mindset, or whatever the case may be, whatever value set that you believe in, if you truly believe in that, you should not be afraid to stick up for that value system and worry about whether somebody's going to destroy you, whether it be publicly or on social media or with your job or whatever the case may be. But we're seeing that all the time. We're seeing that now. You know, I got to tell you, there is a lot of things going on in this world today with which I completely disagree, and we're being forced. It's almost forced compliance. We talked about it a couple episodes ago, where a certain side of the political spectrum now claims to be calling for unity. But they're calling for unity in the name of. They're not really calling for unity. Let's be realistic. They're calling for conformity, and if we do not conform with that mindset, they plan to destroy. And frankly, that's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. There's a lot of people out there who will never come to the ideas totally stand in contrast to their value system. So, there, like I said, there's a whole lot of people out there right now who really just want to live their lives. They want to, continue to spend time with their families, get up in the morning, go to work, do the things that they do, and do it and really be left alone. And they're being forced to and force-fed these new ideologies that for all of mankind in a lot of circumstances, but certainly since the American founding, that they just don't agree with. And if they don't succumb to the will of the majority now, and this is one thing that our founders always talked about, was the tyranny of the majority, and that's why we're, the term democracy is so dangerous, because the individual then has to succumb to the will of the majority, and that's not the way that this this country was ever supposed to be. So when I say take a stand, I think you really have to go back to the roots of our founding and the ideas of individual liberty, and the idea that I might not agree with you, or I might not agree with the majority and their cause of the day, but that's all right, because I'm an individual, and I can have my own individual mindset. I can live my life freely as an individual without having to succumb to the will of the majority. So, like I said in last week's episode, when I was talking about lesson number 10, when you see something, when you see wrong, take a stand. And like I said, just because everybody's doing something does not make it right. And just because nobody's doing some certain thing doesn't mean that thing is necessarily wrong. It just means it's not the fad of the day or the cause of the day that some people have gotten behind. So, when I talk about taking a stand and finding the hill on which I want you to fight, I certainly do not mean physically fight. That's not what I'm getting at all, because in the vast majority of cases, violence is not the answer, and that's not what I'm promoting in any way, shape, or form. What I'm talking about is getting involved. There are an awful lot of people out there who, like I said, just want to live their lives and want to be left alone, but there will come a time when a lot of really good people that just want to be left alone have to get involved. They have to take that stand, because they're going to be left with no choice, because there's such a movement afoot to jam things down our throats that we do not want to have to succumb to. So when I talk about, where do you take your stand? Where do you fight your battle? I'm not talking about a physical fight. I'm talking about educating yourself and getting involved with certain organizations, doing certain things to bring awareness and bring education, and to bring overall do things in a manner. And whether it be some nonprofit organization or a church, or a men's group or a women's group, if we're if we're really allowed to have those anymore, because I mean, let's face it, there's a movement to get rid of that kind of thing, and when we've had them since the beginning of mankind, and they've always been good for people in most instances. So we have to realize, like I said, there's going to come a time when we reach a tipping point, and there's going to be a lot of people out there that just frankly can't put up with it anymore. So, get out there, get involved, take a stand. If you see something that stands in contrast with your value system, the things to be wrong, that you think maybe you can handle this today, but this combined with that and combined with the other thing, and finally that wall of things that you cannot tolerate anymore, maybe just too high to climb, and that's why it's so important that you educate yourself, you get involved, get out there, be part of the cause, and when you see wrong, take a stand, and do what you can do to make things better. Right? That's what we're all about here on the Derate the Hate podcast. Bettering the world one attitude at a time, and sometimes that's going to require taking a stand. So with that, we'll talk about this week's feel-good story. This one is about a youngster up in Maryland who, now this youngster was bullied. And anybody who's listened to the podcast for any amount of time knows I've talked about it before. There was a number of years during my childhood where I experienced some pretty incessant bullying, and it took me a long time to get over that. But this youngster up in Maryland, 7-year-old Kavanaugh Bell, took that bullying, that what he called the darkness inside of him, and figured out a way to turn that around, and wanted to spread positivity and somehow give back to his community, because what it did was it made him feel good inside, just like most giving does. Makes people feel good inside. So, he started a GoFundMe, and he started doing things to spread positivity to other people, and then he got into doing these 13-minute challenges. I'm going to walk for this cause, or I'm going to walk for, I believe it originally started out for him about a young man he knew that was bullied, Trey Thiessen, I think, who lost his life to suicide because of bullying, which far too many kids and far too many, we lose far too many youngsters to suicide because of bullying. So this youngster has made some huge movement in the idea of bringing positivity to other people, and that's expanded to more and more. He started a little food bank, and then he started getting some more supplies, and eventually what he did was he actually was able to put enough stuff together that he shipped a couple shipments of stuff out to the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota for people in need out there. So, this youngster is definitely going places. Beautiful story. I love to bring stories to people, extraordinary things being done by ordinary people. And 7-year-old Kavanaugh Bell is certainly doing some extraordinary things. So definitely need to give a big attaboy to Kavanaugh Bell from Maryland. And we will put links to his story from Tank's Good News. We'll put links to that in the show notes. So if you get a chance, check that out, and maybe spread a little positivity back his way, right? Kavanaugh Bell out of Maryland, doing great things for a lot of people in a lot of good ways. Great job, young man. You're going places, and it's a beautiful thing. So to kind of bring things full circle tonight, I want to just say again, what have you done today to make your life a better life? What have you done today to make the world a better place? We heard a great story about young Kavanaugh Bell, who is doing just that. He's turned around the bullying that he had experienced into a way to spread positivity and kindness to others, making a big difference in the lives of a lot of people through his charities that he's working hard for. What have you done today to make that better, make the world a better place? Again, there may come a time when you have to take a stand, when you're seeing stuff that's wrong, and you have to pick a side, when maybe you just wanted to be left alone, but you may have to pick a side, and that again is going to require getting a little more education, and doing some real legwork, and finding common people with common mindsets to try and spread the values that maybe you live by, but too many people have just maybe lost sight of their way. So hopefully that sinks into people, because again, there's a lot of people out there just want to be left alone, but there may come that time. So with that, next week we have an incredible episode coming up next week. I had the opportunity to interview Kendall Qualls. Kendall Qualls is a businessman from Minnesota here. He had actually run for Congress, and now he's got a new venture going called Take Charge Minnesota, where he is taking a stand. He has got a mission in which he is looking to really build back the strength and the unity in the American black family. And Kendall Qualls is certainly an extraordinary human being. It was a great pleasure to get to interview him, and I will be bringing that interview in next week's episode. So stay tuned for that. Check back next week, and that episode will be coming out next Wednesday. So with that, I am going to sign off for the week and just say, when you get back out there, when you're doing your thing, be kind to one another. Be grateful for everything that you've got, and remember, it's up to you to make each and every day the day that you want it to be. So, from all of us here at Wilkes World, if you haven't yet done so, check us out wherever you get your audio and subscribe. Please leave us a review. And real quick, speaking of interviews, if you do know somebody that you think I would really like to interview, please drop me an email with their information at wilk@wilkesworld.com, because I really like speaking with people. Getting different points of view, different perspectives from different people is always a great way to learn, and I'm all about learning. So if you do know somebody that may have something I'd like to hear, please drop me an email with their information, and I would greatly appreciate that. So with that, I'm going to back on out of here. We'll catch you next week.